"Them two can," said Daisy. Catching the expression on her mother's face, Trina knew she wasn't in the mood for arguments. She picked her duster back up and carried on with what she was doing, despite her qualms about the ability of Ellis and Gerald to look after Tyler, who was only 3. Usually, the responsibility fell on Trina to look out for her 3 younger brothers, Ellis, age 7, 6-year-old Gerald, and Tyler, when her mother was busy cooking, shopping, or washing. But today was cleaning day, and Daisy often asked Trina for help. It seemed to Trina that her mother was overwhelmed with the amount of work involved in looking after a 3-bedroomed house and 4 children. Nevertheless, she undertook her tasks every Saturday without failure, not happy till every surface was dusted, hoovered, and cleaned. Daisy was a respectable woman who took pride in having a clean home. Despite her status as a single parent on benefits, she did her best to maintain her high standards and set a good example to her children. She was an attractive woman in her 30s, of average height and with a womanly figure. Trina took after her mother in looks, but not in height, for she was very tall for her age, something she had gained from her absent father. Trina looked up from her dusting as the boys dashed excitedly to the front door. She was envious of them. It didn't seem fair that she should have to stay and help her mother while the boys got to play outside. But that's the way it was, and she had long ago come to accept her status as the oldest child. Not only was she the oldest, but she was also a girl, which made a difference as far as her mother was concerned. Girls helped with housework, boys did not. "And keep a tight hold on him," Daisy shouted to her 2 eldest boys as they fled out through the front door. They were no sooner outside than there was a knock on the door. Daisy clicked her tongue again. "What on earth's the matter?" she called, trying to ignore it. There was a second knock. Trina said, "I'll get it, ma'am," happy to put down her duster again. But before she got the chance, they heard a man's voice outside. "Daisy, I know you're in there, so answer the door," he shouted. Trina continued making her way towards the front door till she felt her mother's sharp pull on her shoulder. "No," she whispered. "Get behind the curtain. Don't let him see you, or there'll be hell to pay." Alarmed, Trina quickly took her place with her mother, standing to one side of the open curtains so they couldn't be seen through the window. Daisy was busy peering through a gap at the edge of the curtains. A shadow fell across the window, and the man's voice came closer. "Open the door, Daisy. I know you're in there. I've just seen the children leave," shouted the man. A look of concern flashed across Trina's face as she picked up on the grave tone of the man's voice. "I think it's Mr. Dodds. Shouldn't we let him in, ma'am?" she whispered. "Shh," said Daisy, adding a stern, "No, the man can wait." Something about Mr. Dodd's tone and her mother's gruff manner set Trina on edge. As they waited for him to go away, Trina could feel her heart beating so rapidly that she thought it would burst through her chest. "He's gone," Daisy finally announced, releasing her grip on the curtain and striding away from the window. "Thank the Lord for that," she added, stopping to touch herself in the sign of the cross. For a few moments, the sound of the hoover drowned out all other noise, so it wasn't until Mr. Dodds stepped into their living room and sidled up to Daisy that she saw him. Trina noticed her mother's startled reaction when she caught sight of his tall, lean frame hovering over her. "What on earth are you doing in here?" she demanded, switching off the hoover. "You forgot to lock your back door," he said, a self-satisfied smirk playing across his thin lips. "So now I'll have the rent I've come for." Trina continued with the dusting, her body half turned towards her mother and Mr. Dodds as she watched what was happening. She hated Mr. Dodds. He was creepy with his lopsided features and the dirty, unwashed smell that came off him. She often saw him calling at other houses in the area,